Welcome back, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Venom at 7.7. Now this is of course before the changes go live. Let's hope that they don't actually go through with the MiG-15 to 8.0, because I made a little bit of a rant video. Who am I kidding? They are definitely not going to be listening to that, but it doesn't really matter with this plane because it already does kind of cope. You are decently maneuverable, it doesn't have the best engine, and that's really your main downfall. Keep in mind you are a full BR lower than the regular Venom, but you are also basically a full BR worse in terms of performance. 7.7 is a little bit more forgiving, however, but you do have to keep in mind that you are at the same battle rating as something like the LA200, which is a little bit of a kick in the nuts, but you know, what can you do about it? The Venom overall is pretty straightforward to play. You have to kind of pounce on people, you have to hope that they aren't really paying attention, unless of course you get fully down-tiered, but that goes for basically every jet nowadays. With this plane, you are not going to be the fastest, you're not going to be the best accelerating, you are pretty maneuverable. Do keep in mind you can break your wings off. This thing is relatively heavy for like a maneuverable fighter, so if you aren't careful at higher speeds, like above 850, 800 kilometers an hour, you can break your wings off if you start rudder rolling around. So that is basically the only thing I advise you not to do. Other than that, try to focus the ever-living hell out of Me-163s, because they will absolutely ruin your day. They can very easily keep up with you, they outturn you completely, they definitely out-accelerate you, and you don't want to get stuck in a dogfight with those things. So I try to focus those planes at any possible chance, because when they are busy with something else, they're actually killable. They just kind of fly straight in your guns, and the guns are pretty good. I am running stealth belts. That's basically the only belt that I had good consistency with, and you'll see that in this game I'm basically just setting everyone on fire. We are going to get 5 kills, and all of them are going to be fires. Has been my experience with these guns. In props I'm also running stealth. Those are the Mark II Hispanos, however, but the shells are basically the same thing. I'm getting a lot less fires in props, however. Instead I just kind of tear both their wings off or Epstein them in the back of their head. Hispanos are relatively easy to use, but I don't really like the positioning. It has that gun pack on the bottom of the nose. It's even behind the nose a little bit because of the radar, I think. So overall, that is a little bit iffy, but other than that, it's easy to aim. It rolls around. It kind of goes where you want it to go. The rudders, the twin boom rudder, is also not my favorite. It's not as snappy as I would like it to be, but it's definitely very usable. And your maneuverability is of course going to be your main selling point. The issue is that you need to be careful that you don't run yourself out of energy, because you don't have a functional engine and you are just extremely heavy. So I try to keep it somewhat in a horizontal manner to really utilize my maneuverability and not burn too much speed away. If you go vertical, you can just find yourself out of energy very quickly. So if possible, have a little bit of altitude so you can actually spiral downwards and put all that speed or all that altitude into speed, so you actually have that maneuverability throughout the entire fight. Once you reach the deck, and once you reach like 400 kilometers an hour, which you will reach relatively quickly if you burn away your speed a little bit too fast, you are just gonna get your nuts kicked in. 163, well, 163s will kill you anyway, but something like a MiG-15 or a Sabre, they can just go vertical with you, especially if they start on your 6, so you do want to be careful with that. Overall, the retention is quite okay. As long as you keep it somewhat horizontal, maybe in a downward fashion, it will maintain its speed quite okay. The second you start going even a degree above the horizon, you will notice that the plane will kind of just piss all of its speed away and it will not get it back very quickly. Now there is one major issue with all of this, because it also doesn't like to be fast. Fast speed, you rip your wings off, and secondly, it also compresses quite a bit. This is full elevator, and it simply doesn't pull more than that at these speeds. It's also kind of poor aim. I'm not trying to excuse me locking up. This is also just me missing everything. Then we conveniently do take his wing off with a singular shot, but this kind of makes it an issue. The plane doesn't like being super slow unless it's a full down tier, and the plane also doesn't like being super fast. So you are kind of forced to play within like 600 to 800 kilometers an hour ranges, which is hard to maintain because you don't really have a functional engine. And once you are slow enough, everyone is going to be bouncing on you. MiG-15 comes in, we are going to be turning in, we go over his wings, we roll around, make sure that he can't follow because the MiG-15 doesn't roll that well. Notice the LA200 come in, set up for him, he breaks off, so I instantly recommit back to the MiG-15, because the LA200 is not going to be an issue for a little bit. He is just going to overshoot directly in front of us. I break off from the MiG-15 because I'm just going to be pissing away all of my speed. Take a little bit of a leading shot, but I miss everything, and he is simply way too fast. keep looking behind you because the MiG-15 is now re-engaging. We roll out of the way because that is of course one of the strengths of this plane. And we get over his wings, we get over his nose, we roll around. He's trying to air brake a little bit too late, so he is going to end up overshooting. And the millisecond we get the shot, he actually gets his wing turn off. Low-key kind of stole that, but it didn't really disrupt the clip because I would have gotten the shot regardless. And here is a little bit of a down tier. And at these BRs, this plane is, I don't think it's super overpowered, but it's definitely very competitive. You don't have to worry about those 800 to 850 km/h engagements, because your enemy planes don't go that fast. You don't have to worry about your low speed acceleration, because your opponent is going to be a 262A1U1 or an F80, and you can hang with those things, and at medium to low speed, you outmaneuver basically all of them. Now you do want to be careful about planes like the Su-11. That is always going to be the exception, isn't it? So we kind of just dodged the 262. I'm not really going to worry about him. I noticed there's an F80 in the mix and it's an F80C, so I'm going to be even more focused on him. Kind of break off, kind of ignore the 262, just wait until he passes the shot, switch on back over to the F80C, and then, well, this thing is an absolute flying bathtub. The A1A is already not the best 7.0. The one with the extra 30mm in the nose is simply way too heavy, and it's really not that good. So I didn't really worry about him. You do want to worry about the guns, but the second you get past those guns, you have essentially already won. F80 is going for my 821. He's not paying attention in the slightest, so we just kind of lead the turn here and we blow his wing off. Not really that impressive, but you know, you have to look out for your teammates, especially when it's an 821, because that thing is also just not that enjoyable to play. Again, it's pretty good in a down tier. It's kind of in the same boat as we are, except at a completely different BR. Then we have the F80 and the 262 being a little bit slow on the deck. They just came out of a bit of a fight. So I'm gonna go head on with the F84. I do want to be careful about those planes because they are quite fast, but he commits a little bit too hard, tries to pull into the head on at the very last second. I kind of just predicted where he went. Take his plane apart, set the second one on fire, but it looks like it was already crit. He says, "Honey, I'm home," flies it into his house, and then we go for the last guy, which is going to be the B-29. The B-29s are pretty annoying, and because your top speed and your acceleration isn't that fantastic, I just kind of send it through the gunners. We absolutely cook the guy, put like 4 fires on him. He's going to burn up in due time. You can play it a little bit more safe. You can side climb, get above him, but he was about to glide towards his airfield. I'm not going to let him within the AA range, so I prefer to just kind of send it through the gunners. I might just die from that, but I'd rather just finish the game quickly so I can go into the next one, which is going to be this game right here. Going on with the MiG-9, we get a hit, doesn't really do much, don't get a damage indicator on the bottom right. We end up getting an assist because they basically just suicide each other into the head-on. And I'm going to be disengaging here. I do want to be looking around. This is a little bit of my own tier. It's slight up tier, I believe. Yeah, that's an F9F, so it's 8.0, 8.3, I think. And I'm just going to be looking around for planes that I want to kill first. So we have the Barugan and the Uragan on the right. I'm not really too worried about him right now. But there is a Vampire on the right. There's also an Uragan or Barugan. I'm not sure which one it is, but it doesn't really matter since they are the same plane essentially. Is flying away from me. And I'm not going to let the Vampire on my 6. So I'm going to simply turn around, fly towards the Vampire, and see what we can do. Now he is definitely noticing me. I was expecting him to be a bit of a bomber that. Shoot him in the head on, don't connect our shots, we go underneath him, and I notice that he's not turning instantly, so I'm gonna send it after him straight away, and because he didn't turn after me instantly, I'm gonna get the shot first. Now he also has bombs on, which definitely helped my case, but the only reason I send it after him because he didn't react to me passing in the merge. If he had turned around for me, I would have just gone straight. I'm not dogfighting a Vampire, that is a fight that I will lose 9 out of 10 times unless the enemy pilot is exceptionally bad. The FB5 I might take in a dogfight. The Italian or the Swedish one, not so much. Uragan comes back. It is an Uragan, absolutely fantastic. Crit him in the head on, go up and over. Kind of slot in behind him. He is going to be diving away and he has the ability to do so. He is going to be a bit faster than us, but we did crit him. We have some altitude on him. And I think we have enough altitude to kind of outdive him in the long run to reel him in a little bit, especially with the damage that he just sustained. So I'm trying to reel him in. I'm trying to keep eyes on that Saab 105 as well, because I don't want to get absolutely hosed down by that guy. But it looks like he's not even flying towards us. He's going pretty slow on the deck. So I don't really have to worry about him for now. Instead, I'm just going to keep my eyes on the guys that I crit. If the Saab 105 does turn around, all good. If he doesn't, well, I'm just on the 6 of boat now. I have quite a few teammates around. So at this point, it basically becomes cleanup duty. The Uragan breaks off from running away. He actually engages the F9F. Doing so is going to cost him quite a bit of energy and speed as well as position. Set him absolutely ablaze. Chase the S or the Saab 105 back to his airfield. He is gonna make it. And I was expecting him to pull into the head-on, but he didn't even react to us. Instead, I'm just gonna dodge the guy flying towards me. I was expecting this guy to land or do something, but he just kept going. He's going towards the base with the SAM sights. So instead, I'm just gonna be running away for a little bit longer from the 262 on my 6. And I was debating here, do I go for the IL-28 before he intercepts me? But they just took off. It's a very slow plane to get going, especially with bombs on. And I do think that they are both bombing. So instead of engaging them, getting a quick kill, I'm simply going to just focus on the 262. I have a lot more energy than him. And I'm in a very good position. So I'm simply going to pull this guy up. If my friendly doesn't kill him, I definitely will. We get up over his nose. We stall out directly above him. It's an A1U1. So he is going to be absolutely useless. And just like that, we implode his plane. And shift our focus towards the IL-28s. Now the IL-28s are really not that big of an issue as long as they don't play it aggressively. Now if they try to go head on, I can take it. So I kind of fly out, pull back in, because they have a very hard time adjusting for minute adjustments for the fine-tuning of the shot. So I try to roll out over the wing mostly and then pull in. Now unfortunately we managed to miss them. So they are just going to keep on flying straight towards the bombing bases, and I'm going to be engaging the Saab 105 that just took off again. I have a decent amount of speed here. I kind of dive into the merge, pick up a little bit more speed, and then we just kind of go vertical. Now I did tell you to not go vertical, but when you have a plane that's a lot slower than you at that very moment, you can get away with it because you are just burning that speed to get position. And once you have position in a plane like this at medium to low speed, you just have a very easy time finishing up the job. He's going to torpedo into a tree, and we are going to be engaging the IL-28. Now you might say, why are you showing an IL-28? Normally I'm the one flying the bomber and then trying to dogfight fighters. This time we're going to be a little bit in a different boat. He's pitching up for us. He does not have the energy to do this whatsoever. So I kind of just go up over his nose. Once we clear his nose, we are just going to pull straight down because I want to be mostly wary of his gunners. And when people fly like this, I know that he is going to be using his gunner as well. So I want to kind of turn in before he actually gets his ass on me. But I don't manage to get the shot quite right. And now I'm on his 6. And I'm very slow. He's going to have a very easy time trying to shoot me down. I have 50 seconds of fuel. So instead of trying to tail sit him, I'm trying to bait him into diving back on me. So I'm trying to like get enough separation so that he has the ability to turn into me. And I'm trying to bait him into rolling over or doing anything. If he engages me whatsoever, he loses. And he does exactly that. The second he does so, we pull straight in. We miss our shots, but at this point I am committed. I have too little fuel. I need to do this. We get very closely on the 6. We have a decent amount of ammo. Spray his plane apart, and he is also going to be kissing a tree. And the trees, I have to say, this game, they have been treated quite nicely. Better than I have for the last 26 years anyway. And then here we have the very last game. Now, this is a little bit of filler content. There are some decent engagements here and things to talk about, but I want to give you a little bit of an update at the end here. And that's the biggest reason this game is here, because 90% of it really wasn't that spectacular. Starting off, we are, as of course, in a down tier. We are going to be spraying down people in the head-on. First F-80 is going to be going down. Second F-80 also catches these rounds. He is going to be crashing in due time. And now we have an F-2H on the 6, and you see that I wanted to engage him. But then the P-51 shows up on the right there, so I don't want to get too slow with him. So instead of trying to merge with him to go into a dogfight, I'm going to merge with him to bleed a little bit of his speed. And then I'm simply going to just break off. I'm not going to dogfight next to a prop, especially one that can go fast enough. I thought it was a P-51H at this point. It ends up being like a P-51A. So, I mean, I could have just basically gone up and stalled him out in like 12 seconds. But, you know, I didn't expect someone to bring the cannon stang. I was just expecting the P-51H being up tier to like 7-7 with a buddy or something like that. Now we have the FTOH on a 6, and I'm simply trying to disengage from the prop. There's really not much to it here. I'm trying to get a little bit of separation. I know that I can outmaneuver the F2H, but I do want to be kind of careful with my energy. Now he gets engaged by one of my friendlies, the F-84. So he's kind of pushed out of position. So I'm going to be turning around now to re-engage him. But I noticed that the P-15H is, well, engaged with someone else. They ram each other. So I thought, well, I might as well just kill him. Because, well, if you ram him, no one gets the kill regardless. Now he is gone. I'm going to be re-engaging the F2H. He goes head on a little bit late. I missed my shots, I believe. Yeah, we do. And we go up over his nose and we pitch straight up. Now this is a fight that I can win in the long run. But I do want to be careful that I don't burn all my speed away. So I went for position at the start here. And here I'm kind of going for the reversal. Trying to get it super slow so I can kind of float inside of his loop. Because then against an F2H, a plane like that, this plane is pretty maneuverable at low speeds. But he gets cleaned up with a friendly. So we kind of just unintentionally set him up for disaster. Works for me. Guy is dead. We are alive. Everything is good. Now the rest of this game really not much to talk about, but I do want to mention something because I just cleaned up my entire PC. I noticed some issues with my hard drive, I noticed some issue with Steam itself, which was really lagging my PC, so I just opted to uninstall everything from my PC. Nice aim, by the way, thank you very much. And get a clean install. I hope that it fixes all the stutters, the tearing, the absolute frame drops and everything. I hope that it fixes it. If it doesn't, let me know. Now this is still older footage, so this might still be a little bit affected. But I wonder if it also changed anything with the new editing software. I'm using the latest version of what I was already using. And I hope that it renders a bit quicker. I hope that it's a bit smoother. And I hope overall that your viewing experience is gonna become a little bit better now. Because I'm not gonna be lagging my tits off every third frame. So let me know. I am kind of curious if you guys notice a difference in terms of the rendering at least. The gameplay should be about the same. And some of the issues were actually in the gameplay itself. So I wasn't really sure what caused what. But it felt like everything I was looking at was just performing horribly. From my recording software to my actual PC performance, because I often couldn't even open my files which had the recordings in them. If I tried to start a recording, the game would crash or the file would crash. If I would try to restart my PC, it would sometimes take me 1.5 hours to actually start up the PC because it kept getting stuck on like recovery mode and stuff like that. It just kept like turning itself off, and I was really about to just kind of full commit head on a wall with my bike. But you know, for now it's looking somewhat okay. I hope that your viewing experience is gonna be a bit better because a lot of people have been complaining about the FPS lag, the tearing and all that stuff. So I hope that that is all gone. If not, let me know. I'll have to look a bit further, but I'm kind of all out of options on what I can do at this point. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you all for watching, and you'll see me hopefully with a good FPS in the next one.